Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Chuck. What's up, man?
Hey, brother, how you been? It's been quite a while.
I know. I love to bring people back on the show and to get updates and everything and see how you've been. And welcome back.
Thanks. I've been watching a lot of your podcasts, man. I hope you're doing well with it. It seems to be growing and growing.
I mean, I get subscribers every month. I get a couple of hundred, so something's
Right.
working.
One of my boys, Mel Chancey, he Chicago guy. He was in Bluegrass Run. We had a fight scene. He just did a podcast with John Bernthal, the Punisher guy. It's called The Real One, and I hate to advertise somebody else's shit on your show, but I want to try to set you up to go talk to him because he's kind of doing what you're doing, but in a little different way, and he's the kind of guy that shares. This guy has billions of subscribers, so it'll help you grow, all of us. So, and that's what I do.
Definitely would.
With people.
I've reached out to Mel. I spoken with Mel. He was he said he's gonna come on, but he was dealing with some Hollywood stuff, and yet they were filming a movie, things like
with
that.
John, they just did that, and then they did the podcast. And John, I guess, is taking Mel under his Mel's advice for training and all the other stuff, because that the fight scenes he does are incredibly tough, and you got to have good doctors that are pro sports doctors, and Mel knows everybody. So
yeah, he was one of the people that rode into the ring with all the Hell's Angels in the WWE.
Yeah, he really is. Honestly, he really is a big pussy cat when you sit down, and I don't think he drinks anymore, but he might smoke marijuana. I don't know. I'm not divulging anything, but one day we were we're like little kids. We're just high and laughing, and he's a good guy. That's why he's the leader of the Chicago chapter. He gets shit done, and he has a personality, and he makes you laugh. I got to tell you, the funniest people, and you know this to be true, funniest people I've ever met in my life are criminals and mob guys, because they don't give a fuck. They don't care. They're going to tell a joke. Doesn't matter. They're going to make fun of you. It's just they're good people. They just happen to do some bad stuff. So,
how did you meet Mel?
I trained at Chuck Sanow's gym, and we were all in the same area. We were all doing the same kind of things. I did a little stint serving the Outlaws some goodies, and when I met him, he was out of the Angels, and I saw him in the gym, and I go, I need you in a movie. I want you to, I need you to be in my movie. And he's like, fine. So we went and shot it, him and his girl. And man, this was more than 15 years ago. I am actually going to ask John Bernthal to play the lead character in Bluegrass Run. It's a guy named Michael Crown. He's a criminal, and he goes to Kentucky to lay low. He meets a girl online that he thinks is just a stall, person in a stable, but she owns a derby horse, and her father's running for governor. So now the mob is chasing her and him in Kentucky because they saw him on the news. But it's a story loosely based on my life and my wife, because I came down here to get out of some indictments. I had a Department of Justice girl. Not going to say her name. And she was a wonderful person, not exactly my type, but one of my best friends. And she told me, she's like, Ace, you got to get out of town. And there's an indictment with 20 names. We have mutual friends that know these names that were on that indictment. A lot of these guys are kings from Chicago that you know. You know what I'm talking about. And Stevie Bullets knows. Those guys. Well, and there was a lot of beef about that because they thought I ratted them out. But I called them guys and told them there's a wire at Frankie and Johnny's. You better get your ass out of there. But someone was serving a couple of kilos a week out of there, and I think 19 of them got 18 of them got busted, except the top dog and the outsider, which was me. So they immediately put a green light hit on me because they thought I ratted everybody out. but I wasn't. Just because I was talking to a girl in the Department of Justice doesn't mean I'm ratting people.
No.
They always say kings, mob guys never talk to the cops. Well, there's affiliates that talk to cops, and that's how things run. You can't do things without intelligence, and you get
No.
intelligence from sources. And if you don't talk to them, you have no sources. So I know what everybody says, but you got to be doing favors and running around doing shit. But I told them I got out of there and came to Kentucky and met my wife. And they all went to jail, and then this was that. And in the end, it was the big boss that ratted everybody out. So
that's usually how it goes nowadays, too.
Yeah, and they supposedly dropped a green light, but I went back a couple of times. And listen, you're never. I love the way I grew up, and I love them guys, but it's a brotherhood, a fraternity. But the bottom line is, at any time, anyone can be killed or sacrificed, and it's no way to live. So
it's not. They're definitely not. It never ends well.
No, it's death or jail or something. You got to give up. You got to give up so much to get ahead. And then they just take it from you if they want. Kind of like our government.
Yeah.
Kind of way America works right now. So, yeah.
So you had some dealings with them brothers, right?
Which one? Oh, the florist?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So my connections with the Kings and Hamlin, we had Cato and Oso and a bunch of like 30 Suburbans came through for this meeting. Cato was best friends with DMX, and they were making movies together. Cato, Rudy Rangel was producing DMX's movies. I put the word out that I wanted to do a film, and I got a script. It was about a race riot in America caused by the government. This is 30 years ago, and Goofy, one of the local guys, set it up for me. And so they came and we talked. But also, this guy walked in. It also means bear. He was his bodyguard. Dude had a duck to get in the doorway. I mean, he was just a monster. But he said, two things. I don't know you. People can vouch for you, but that has nothing to do with me. This is a different game. I want to, in private, he told me, I want two things from you. I want you to rob a drug dealer, because he was big into robbing. He robbed kings. They murdered their own kings. That's the other thing. A lot of kings killed kings, and we shot at each other all the time, and that's crazy because that's not the way it's supposed to be. But people have beefs, and it's not like the Cosa Nostra where you go to the big boss and you try to get approval for a hit. These motherfuckers are just buck wild, and that's when I was there. I don't know.
They lure you. They like to do some sneaky shit too, like lure you in the car.
There's crazy shit, a lot of tricking, a lot of shooting, a lot of underhanded shit, and that's why And listen, even the Cosa Nostra fell. At some point, people get too greedy and everything. So, anyways, he told me, I want you to rob one of your drug dealers, and you come back and give me the money and the dope. And the information on it. So in this game, blackmail is the whole thing. It's kind of like I let you crawl up on my backside. You have power over me to blackmail me now. So, but the game is now I got to out blackmail you. If I want to come up on you or pull even, and you're not my boss no more, then I got to out blackmail you. And nobody gets mad about it. They might try to kill you, but they don't get mad. They know the game. And so he said, do that. I said, fine. I brought him the stuff. We actually robbed some Polish drug dealers. There on Archer Avenue in Chicago, there's a bunch of Polish bars, and there's Russians and Polish guys in there. And I loved them. I hung around with them. Not these guys. But I went in there a few times, saw what their business was. I was trying to take it over. So I thought, I'm going to rob them. And we came in and we took TVs. And I told the guys, we're wearing DEA stuff. We came in FBI. We came in and I told them, don't take stuff other than money and drugs. Put it in bags like evidence, and let's get out of there. They were taking TVs. They were taking stereos. They were taking clothes. I mean, these guys were numbskulls. So the Polish guys figured it out, and then they put the Russian mob on us. So now I got problems. But I brought it back to Cato. Cato gave me the two Flores brothers' names. I didn't know they were kings. I didn't know they were Sinaloa. And my ex-father-in-law was actually Sinaloa. So maybe he had intel on me to make his own people rob his own people. I don't know. But he knew who my father-in-law was. Cato grew up was a lot in Leclerc Courts, and so was I. That was a South Side projects. But anyway, so he said to do that. He gave me the names and the addresses, and he says, put your guys out, start to watch them. This is not an easy job. And so I waited and started doing some work. 2 days later, Cato got shot 9 times or 5 times in the barber shop. He's wearing $350,000 worth of jewelry, and they didn't rob him. So we knew it was a hit. And from what I hear, it was the Four Corner Hustlers. And I hear some shit that his wife turned him in, and Oso was in on it. I don't believe it, but people say people are tricks. People they lie. So I don't know what the real deal is, and I've never talked to him again. But if I would have tried to rob them guys, I would have been dead for sure. I would have been rich.
So
Cato
so,
robbed them for 150 kilos.
What, the brothers?
150. Yeah.
For the brothers?
Yeah, he already robbed them, and so he wanted a double up. But I heard one of the brothers was sleeping with his wife. So, and there's some truth to that. So, I don't know. You know what I mean?
I don't know if you've seen, but a Venezuelan drug lord was just tossed over the side of a boat with weights on him, live on the internet.
Right. Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's a video of them throwing him over the boat.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
I gotta look it up. You got it on one of your specials?
Yeah, I'll put it into this video.
Okay. Cool. And so I knew that the deal was off, and I thought DMX. I had made acquaintance with DMX, and when he came to town, he was at the funeral. DMX knew who I was, and he knew Cato was doing high-end business with me, so DMX liked me. Later on, DMX put me in one of his videos, and then the New York King started to know me through DMX because we shot in New York, and then Fat Joe had me at one of his videos, so that's how that happened. R. Kelly was different. R. Kelly was a vice lord, and they just heard that I was a real gangster, and he wanted somebody in there. They hired Dominic Capone, and I was Dominic's bodyguard. So that's how the video stuff started. But so I mean, like I said, this is gangster act. It's like gangster rappers, but gangster actors, and even guys like Danny Trejo started that way. All these guys are, Chiros like that. All these people are doing it, and it's something that we had coined a phrase for, 20 years ago. They had Suspect Entertainment and a bunch of other Latino stuff. Most of it's Latino, but the mob is shrunk. The mob is shrunk. They just do union shit, But
what were your thoughts when you heard that DMX passed away?
I cried. I knew I was in the same journey he was with drugs. I was a drug dealer, and then I started doing it, and it's a hole you can't get out of. And so I knew what a great person he was. A real criminal, though, a real badass. And it's like, I call it petting the lion. Everybody wants to be friends with the lion and pet the lion and tell everybody, look, I can pet the lion. The lion won't bug me because I'm bad, but he's going to bug you. But the whole time the lion's going, you look delicious. But yeah, you go somewhere and they tell you to go over here down the hall, and you open up the door and there's a bunch of dudes and women and another one that's all women and all men. And it's some creep, but I've seen that shit in Hollywood too. And I've talked to people that say they attend sacrificial ritual meetings all the time. And these were good friends of mine. I was like, what? We're having tacos in LA. I'm not going to say the movie guy's name, but it was a big director that showed up for dinner with our friends. he was a surprise, and he was like, dude, we got to go to that satanic ritual. And my wife Bobby and I are like, that ritual meeting. And he goes, yeah, satanic ritual. He goes, I don't mind doing that because it's all a charade most of the time, unless it's sacrifice or pedophilia. And we were like, what? You know, like you're just telling us this shit. I felt like beating his ass, but
I mean, I heard some stories where they cut people and they get the blood, but I never heard of them killing people at the parties.
Oh, they eat people. That you have no idea how bad this stuff is. Mel Gibson talks about it. There's a lot of people coming out. Mark Wahlberg. There's a coalition of people that are, and I'm not saying left or right. It's not a political thing. This is a Hollywood thing, but a lot of them are liberal. But they're it's a real fucking problem. People don't believe me, but it's a real problem, and it's all this stuff is going in one direction. It's like Baphomet is transgender. That's what this is. That's what this pushes. And in Hollywood, they push the agendas ahead of time, like 3 years. So they introduce you just like they're indoctrinating schools. This is the slow boil with the frog in the pot. They do this stuff, and listen. I'm proud of being a gangster because when I did my shit, I was playing with guys that were playing the same game that I was playing. But these guys, man, they're evil. Women, children, don't matter. You know, they're evil, and they're not even courageous. They get other people. There's so much money involved. That adrenochrome is ridiculously expensive. Sex
that's
trafficking
to keep people young, right? To keep them looking young or something.
It's been throughout history. The Aztecs, the Mayans, the Egyptians, they've all done this sacrifice. So this is nothing new. This is hidden knowledge. This is ancient stuff. And granted, who am I to say what people have done in the past and everything else? Rome was evil. You know, Nazis were evil, but it's still going on. People think we're civilized. Oh no, we're not civilized. Gangsters are civilized compared to these people. So, and that's what I'm saying. And you know who's getting mad? Comedians and gangsters. We're fighting back. We're pushing back on these people. Nobody else is, and everybody else is like Dave Chappelle. Unbelievable, man. I mean, Joe Rogan. All these people. They're coming at it hard, and there's a chance that all your shit gets shut down because it's a big system, and that's what I study. I study the system, the hierarchy, and I've been through a couple of levels of different things, and that's how you produce a film. That's how you get stuff done when you could provide a service to these people. But you get to a point where there's that firewall where they want you to transport kids or, you know, some other shit. Nah, that ain't happening. You know, I'll shoot a motherfucker. Not anymore. Not
Before
anymore.
you get involved with that shit.
I'm saying, you know, but there's got to be a reason behind it. You know, I got to have a little justification to God. But my life now is I work at a church. I help around the house with my 93-year-old father-in-law, who's wonderful, and I got a Chihuahua. You know, there ain't shit going on.
Changed man.
I go to the thing, and people are like, they think everything I tell them is bullshit, but it's not. This shit happened. I'm crazy, and I've done a lot of crazy shit. So
you know. Can you walk me through one of these crazy stories that you have? I know you did a lot of crazy stuff in the past.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying not to repeat some of the stories that I told you. You know, there's a lot of things about drug dealing and stuff like. I think I told you this one, but this is a good one. So when a neighborhood goes dry, the price goes up. There's always the time to make money is chaos. So when everybody's dry and there's no cocaine, they're running around looking for it. My father-in-law was gone. My other contacts, the Kings, were gone. Everything was dry, yet our people and their people were all looking for it. I found a guy on 59th Street that was a big shot that did kilos, and he was a Satan's disciple, which is our enemy. I'm on the left side of 59th Street. They're on the right side. they shoot across from each other just driving by. And a lot of them been killed, and a lot of ours been killed. But so in general, it's not good to do business with people. I've always tried to get ceasefires. I always thought this land grab shit was childish, and it was set up by the government to destroy us. And it's a very Latino thing, because blacks don't do it as much as Latinos are very, very
territorial.
Territorial,
And
nothing wrong with it. It's just the love languages are all like that. It's that blood. It's a hot blood, and like matadors. They got to do this shit, and I don't blame them for that. But let's just make some money. That was my attitude. Screw this. I must have been. I had too much Caucasian in me. I was like, I just wanted to get banked and forget about the rest of that stuff. The Cuban was sleeping. So I contacted the guy, and he knew who I was. And I said, listen, it's dry, and I'm old enough to be out. My son's in another state. I got nothing to lose. I got all these contacts. We could do this. Nobody will know. And we started doing business together. And we became friendly, as much as a lion and a leopard can be friendly. They're not going to sleep together. But then he knew I did security cameras, and he knew I did, sound systems and everything. So he was trading me for stuff. He'd give me a kilo to try to do something with it. And I got low power on my phone. So I would go out and do dope houses for him. And I did like 20 something dope houses. I had all the cameras. I knew how to access them. Some of them I even had codes to his stuff. He didn't say they're dope houses, but I knew, what do you protect?
Oh, so you can look at his cameras.
Oh, I had everything. I had them by the short hairs. So at one point, before, well, all right, so 10 years before this, the SDs caught me, and they were like, you're big ace, we're going to fuck you up. And they chained me in a garage to a concrete pole, to an iron pole in a concrete garage. And they chained me in there, and they beat my ass for a day, and, really just tried to get intel out of me and everything else. And then come the second day, one of them was like, he pulls out his dick, and he's like, I'm gonna rape this motherfucker. And then all his boys, I looked at his boys, I go, really? I go, you guys are maricones? You're all fairies? And I mean, back then gangsters could say all that shit. And nobody got offended. And they were like, yeah, what's wrong with you? So I found a weak link. So now I started bagging on him, and all they did was laugh. Then they stuffed cocaine in my nose, and they rubbed it on my face, and they're sweating and freaking out, and you're gonna kill me, and whatever, for days. But then finally that happened, and I found a way out. So I worked them for like a whole other day. We were all getting high. They let me loose on the second day. I stayed another day.
Just get high with them.
I just
fucking break up the shit, Jose.
What are you doing, letting Big Ace loose? He's gonna kill us all. I'm like, no, man, we're partying, we're having a good time. That's what started that other job. That's how I met. I'm not gonna say names. That's how I met that other guy. So he knew I was cool as fuck. But they did that shit. I walked home.
How did they let you go? How did that situation end? Like, how did you end up walking away from
They
them?
said, listen, you ever tell anybody you do anything, you come in our neighborhood, we know where you live. We're going to tell everybody, we got intel out of you, blah, blah, blah. There wasn't a cocaine shortage at the time. They were just like, listen, you're a senior guy, you're an older guy, you're not in the game. And don't ever tell anybody we gave you a pass. So I already fucked that up, but they're all dead anyway. But I mean, they didn't want people to know they were weak. And so, but I would see them and they got the Mexican malls and places where you go get stereos and stuff. I'd see them and I'd be looking and all the kings are like, everybody gets all tough. And I'd be walking by just, I got about 6 of my guys with me, and I walk by and the one dude would be like smiling at me. I'm like, what? I didn't betray him. I survived. You know what I'm saying? I didn't feel I did anything wrong. But if it wasn't for that little gay guy, I'd have been fucked.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's one of them. I had dope house stuff in LeClaire Projects. I had Cabrini Crane. I delivered a lot of dope to the biggest projects in Chicago. I got along. I've been to juntas and meetings with Black Panthers. I was in a meeting with Black Panthers when I was pretty young. I got beaten by Latin Kings when I was at St. Rita, and then I got moved sophomore year out of that school because I was getting in too much trouble. And my dad saw 5 dots. He saw the crown. You know, the 5 dots is Latin Kings, and so he moved me to another school, and we fell off. So then 10, 15 years later, when my son's born, he's 12 years old. They're pulling him in, and they wanted him to do, you know, there's levels like tagging and posting up with a gun and everything. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll get some dope from you, and I'll introduce you to my dope guy, which was Carl, which was my father-in-law. And I said, but I just don't want you posting my son up. And they were like, no, we can't do that. And they said, well, listen, you know, then you gotta get back in it. You got to give us all your information. You got to. Then there was no ceremony. I didn't have to go to meetings, nothing. But I was either a high level associate or a low level king. You know, there was no ceremony, nothing. I was too old to be doing it. But I did meet with everybody every week, and I had a spot at 58th and Hamlin. So those friends of ours know that was my second home. That was actually my son's home. So I'm Big Ace and he's Ace. And I worked out of that bar for, 20 years. People would drive by and shoot at us, and all the little guys would drop to the ground, and I'd just stand there, be like, hey, Big Ace, you're crazy. I'm like, no, you don't know how bad a shot these guys are. Because if I drop on the ground, they might hit me. And if I just stand there, they kill me. So
might get a lucky shot, right?
Right. Well, they don't want to kill you. They want to scare you. Most of them. Somebody might want to kill me. I don't know. I took the chance. But I always stood there. I didn't duck. I didn't run. Everybody else ran. That freaks them out. Freaks my guys out. I win. If I drop on the ground like a pussy and then get shot in the ass, what good is that for anybody? So, I stayed at Hamlin Club for a long, long time. It was a Polish bar. We had a lot of parties there. We actually had my son's 16th birthday party there. So I had invited the whole set of the Hamlins, probably 40 young kids. We rented out the hall. Everybody had drugs and guns and booze and strippers. And it was, of course it was raw. They're already into life. And I told them, I said, Smokey, leave the gun out front under a rock. Do not bring a gun in here. Don't carry a gun. Cops are going to be hot tonight. The cops came. He ran inside with the gun where all of us were. And then so everybody in there got arrested. They had put me in the backseat of a car, and they were going to arrest me. At that time, I had a $50,000 bond. I had a $500,000 bond for drug trafficking. I gave the government $50,000. So it's a bad time for me to get caught doing this. They would have took my bond. Luckily, this is how God works, and you don't even know it. Luckily, me and one of my friends who was an XSD, who were running drugs, met a cop at one of the local bars, and she was a hot little number, and she liked my friend, but we both flirted with her and kind of rubbed on her and everything else. So she knew both of us. A week before that, she walks by the squad car and sees me, and then she goes and opens the door and said, "What's wrong?" I was like, I got bonds and everything. You got to let me go. She goes, unhandcuffs me and just let me go. And she got yelled at by all her superiors. A week later, they found her dead in her home by her husband, who I guess she was cheating on him. So, God and chance are, there is no chance. There's God. and I got out of that one, but we had a good time. You know, all these young bucks and stuff. We used to run that neighborhood and try to keep it, you know, clean and try to not be shooting random and hitting children. We did a lot of fighting, hand fighting with the 2.6 and with the SDs, but in general, it's stupid. You know.
Have you had a lot of run-ins with the law?
Yeah, but I mean, I was pretty clever about what I did. I always had stash houses. I always had everything in order. Your plates, turn signals. I didn't fuck around and drive like an idiot. I didn't do it, but they watched me. My son, on the other hand, by the time he was 17, had 70 arrests. And I'd go to court and they'd be like, Mr. Wagner, step up here and don't think we don't know who you are, too. I had judges tell me that shit. I'm like, okay, thank you, sorry. You know.
I only got 26, man. I thought that was a lot. 26.
Oh, I 70, and that was right now. He's locked up, and he may do life. I don't know how he doesn't get it. He did 10 years. He got out for like a year, and then went back to the same crimes he was committing. And he was in Miami, and then they locked back up. I don't know if they set him up or he was stupid enough to do it, but whatever it is, it hurts my heart. But I can't make him do it. His grandfather was a multi-million-dollar drug dealer. I was a $1 million drug dealer. I think he felt like he had to outdo us. And when you're a father and you're raising your kids, you don't think about they're looking at what you do. Or I didn't. There are a lot of good fathers out there that do, but I was caught up in some shit.
Do you regret that?
Do you regret? Huh?
Do you regret bringing him up that way?
I didn't. I tried to get him out of it. We sent him to Idaho. When he was 12, they tried to pull him in. And so my answer was, before I went back to the gang to try to negotiate, we sent him to Idaho. And we actually hired a guy. Cost us $20,000 to kidnap him and take him out to Idaho. And then he was in a $60,000 a year special school in the mountains. And he did that from 14 till about 16. And then I got custody of him when he ran away and came back. So, you know,
sometimes I think that putting him in the programs maybe makes it worse. Do you think?
I thought that, you know, he got in that, they put him in a teepee in the mountains and he's throwing gang signs at everybody. These were all rich kids that were on heroin and stuff. No city kids could afford this. So no one knew what gangs was. You know, it was tough. We'd go out like 4 times a year to see him, and it's heart-wrenching. And like I said, that's why I go to church, and that's why I pray now, and that's why I'm married to the woman I'm married to, is that I have so many regrets. It's everything. Everything I did was a mistake. So we're running out of battery.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna start crying. And I'm no bitch, all right? You know, when you know you fucked up, and that's why I'm saying with this show, I don't want people to glorify this. My wife yells at me. I want people redemption. Find, you know, learn it before I did, because you know, it took me 50 years. How stupid am I? You know, and I want kids to get away from this shit. And that's what you're doing, Bill. You know, that's what you're doing. And I commend you for that. You know.
Thank you, man. It's it. You can change. People can change out there. I'm living proof. I used to be on heroin, alcohol, all fucked up in the streets. Yeah. And now I'm just living a clean life, trying to move forward and do the right thing.
I didn't change. I just try not to do it.
Yeah.
Every time I see people doing drugs, I'm like, oh, here. I'm fucked up. I've had skin cancer. I still train and stuff. I look healthy as a horse. But I got caught up in a lifetime of bullshit, and I regret it. You know,
I would rather think about getting high than be high thinking about getting sober. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it's not easy. You can't get sober till you've had enough, and you don't have enough until there's nothing left. You lose everything. I lost millions of dollars. I went from being a big drug dealer to a drug addict, and then I became a small drug dealer. And then finally the rehab guy said, you don't have a problem with drugs as much as you do being a drug dealer. I had 12 classes that I was supposed to take mandatory for my probation, which, by the way, I got caught with 5 sacks of coke in a strip club, which is a mandatory, that's intent to distribute. I didn't even get a felony. I don't know how God looks at me like, I'm telling you. And they said, oh, I tricked. What? Tricked on who? On myself? There was nobody to trick on. I just, I tell people, my father was a Mason. My uncle was a Mason. I went to Catholic school. I think people look at stuff and they go, Masons are very, they let you off a lot of stuff. I'm not saying that, but I think that's what it was. Because my brother got, off a lot of shit too. And that's where I commend Masons. But again, as with everything, low-level guys are unknowing and the high-level guys are evil. So, but yeah, I'm not even a felon, which is crazy because I've done so much shit for so long. And that was another reason why they called me Ace. I always found a way out of shit. I'm very blessed. My wife taught me not to say lucky anymore because it ain't luck. God's looking out for me. So,
and I don't believe in coincidences anymore.
Yeah, Mel is doing good like you are. Guys like you really should be given a bigger platform and help spread the word because young kids are just stupid and wild now. They've always been stupid and wild, but this is next level shit. This is their car, 15, 13-year-olds carjacking people. It's crazy. Old ladies getting killed. Come on. I'm sick of this shit. We're living in bizarro world. So,
really
hey, before my phone dies, let me quickly plug Sins of the Father by Clayton Lucci. In 10 days, we got like 22,000 views. It's kind of fell off since then. It's a trilogy. It is about a mob guy, a low-level mob guy that gets out of prison and starts sleeping with the big boss's wife. They sent his son to kill him, and he's like, nah, they're making up stories, blah blah blah, and they go, Dad, they got you on video, and I'm like, oh fuck, and he said, yeah, you even wiped your meat off on his sweater.
Listen,
and
I've read for that. I've read for one of the parts in that movie.
and I got
this. I have the script right over there, man.
Right, I improvised because they said you wiped your meat off on a sweater, and I go, it was a nice sweater, and I laughed, and it was. They said that was the best part of the shit. But anyway,
I remember it because there's a videotape, Pop. They got you on videotape.
Yeah, and he's like, oh shit, and then I started doing the schizophrenic, like, I'm like, oh shit, holy fuck, and I said that. And then anyway, I'm not going to reveal what happens in the short. We have 3 parts that we're putting together for a feature. We've shot the middle one and we're doing the other 2. And we may have some more in Chicago. We might have some in LA. Miami. But we did the first one here. But my son ends up taking over the boss's position. So the first one is all about how I fell in love with this mob boss's wife, which, I really didn't, but I was trying to work an angle. Supposedly she was writing me in prison saying what a pussy he was. And so when I got out, and she wanted me to kill him and take over. And I was probably planning on doing that. So then when they caught me, I was like, well, it's a game. I got caught, So then my son takes over. And he ends up becoming the capo. So it's a good movie, shot well, low budget, but really doing well, a lot of views. And, we haven't got it out on Amazon yet, but we will. So,
it's awesome.
I got another one coming up too, Fun and Games. It's kind of like it's more like an action film. It's kind of like John Wick or The Punisher. A lot of action scenes. I'm trying right now. I'm rehearsing, and I stopped the weight training to do a little more cardio and other stuff, but I'm working out with the director. He sees me and he goes, I just want you to throw the guy through the wall. And I'm like, you know, it's kind of like a girl with big tits. You assume things. Big guy, dumb and stupid, throw him through the wall. I'm like, I've had like 30 years of martial arts. I can do, you know, hand trapping and whatever, little jujitsu, this and that. And he's like, well, we're just going to work with that. So I'm gonna work on him and try to get a little more in this one. But
more intricate than just throwing them through the wall.
Yeah, I don't want to be just that big. You know, remember Bolo from Enter the Dragon?
yeah.
I don't want to be that big Chinese dude. But whatever. It's the director's call, and it ain't mine. You know, shut the fuck up and work is the answer. But
we'll schedule a live, man.
We got to get something.
100% down, man. 100%.
We get Bluegrass Run if we get it funded. It's a $5 million movie, maybe even more now. And I got some good ties on funding. I'll definitely set you up with a couple of Chicago mob scenes and treat you right. You know, get
definitely,
you out there. Ideally, what I want is the Punisher guy, John Bernthal, and a J-Lo to play me, J-Lo to play my wife, which is nowhere near either of us. But you got to look at box office and you got to look at heat. Those two people are real hot, and but mainly John Bernthal, because he is. My wife goes, that is you. That's that guy. That he goes, that would be Ace. I had a couple other guys. I even talked to Cheryl about doing it, and she's not thrilled with anybody I mentioned, and they're all great actors. But you know, at the end of the day, my wife tells me what to do.
Hey, that's the name of the game, man. That's why I stay single.
Listen, it took me finding a church lady to calm me the fuck down. You know what I mean? I would have never thought to look there. After all my years,
I don't look there, man. I look at the pews. I look straight ahead when I go to church.
Right, I worry when I'm in there, like, somebody's gonna come to me right here. But like I said, I never thought to look there, and I looked every other place. But in reality, you know, that's why you can't rule things out. You got to understand, and there's more to life than a lot of the things that movies and everything else make you think. There's a bigger thing. Religion, as bad as I'm Catholic. But I believe they did a lot of bad shit. So I'm not a fan of religion, but I believe in Jesus with my whole heart. And I more get into what he did. Don't have a lot of stuff. Give it away. Take care of people. Be good. You know, it's real simple. Don't be a dick. The Catholic Church has bastardized it. Everybody, the Muslims, the Baptists, everyone has their versions of what it is, and it's a societal hierarchy. You know, it's like, oh, look at me, I got a nice tie today, and I'm a pillar in the community. Fuck you, you're probably screwing little boys.
There's crazy divide in people right now, you know?
Yeah, and this is a Bible prophecy, and I believe, you know, it's that there was a slow takeover for 60, 70, 80 years with communism and Satanism, which are hand in hand. Ironically, the Nazis were big Satanists. I study this stuff, and I see what they're trying to do with, they're saying Satan was the good guy and God was trying to keep us from doing what stuff. And that Satan said, enjoy your free will and all that. They really work you to try to get you to convince you to, Satan's not a bad guy. We don't eat babies. They eat babies. they do. I heard stuff about Hillary Clinton that the CIA and FBI people that saw it were throwing up as they watched the video with her and her secretary doing some stuff to a baby. So, and who am I? You know, I don't not believe it. I don't believe it. So, you know.
And then you got a picture of Bill Clinton in Epstein's Island, right? In a dress.
Yeah. Oh, that's nothing. That was just the blackmail end of it. That I understand. But there was a lot of Egyptian shit going on, and it's satanic and it's evil. But if you look in the Bible, Jesus is in the desert for 40 days, and the devil tempts him. He says, come on and ride with me. I'll give you anything. I am the master of this world. Jesus didn't go, no, my Father is the master. It's known that the devil runs this world, and that's what you got to accept. You got to know where you're at. So I don't bail out the devil or do anything. I'm not here to stir the boat, maybe with his people and shit, but I know where I'm at, and I know where I'm going, and I'm not going to do this shit that keeps me bound to this shithole. And that's where religion comes in for me. Is in the face of all the bad shit, do something nice. Do something good. I'm not saying I can always do that because I still get angry, and I'm still me. There's still a thug under all this shit, but I hide it really well now. So and I'm not on drugs. I don't have the triggers that. But I really hate when people come up to me and tell me what to do. I really hate it. Some transgender, you got to call this and that and everything else. I'm like, listen, go over in the corner and do your thing. I'm cool with it. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
As long as it's not with my wife or babies, I'm cool with it. But don't try to tell me because I don't think you know who I am.
Yeah, don't tell me to do anything.
You ever told me what to do.
Yeah.
I don't even listen to the people in charge. How are you going to try to stop me? And that's what they don't. People are getting mad. And the other thing is communism is coming to this country. And when communists take over, they're going to be throwing transgenders, gays, women, blacks off of buildings. With all these guys, they're not big fans of them. And any of these, North Korea, Russia, China,
Turkey,
Iran, they all
banning it.
Yet we're supporting. So when they get there, these are useful idiots. When they get here, who do you think the first to go is? Them. They're not going to kill it. Well, they're gonna kill everybody, and there's going to be. I'm ready. That's all I know. I'm ready. I had the party done. I'm doing good stuff now. When the shit hits the fan, I'm going to be ready. And I hope you will too.
I will be, man. Well, definitely. Where can the people find you? And we're going to schedule a live. We'll schedule a live down the road.
All right, that's cool. I'm gonna try to get. I'll try to get Mel to watch it and see if he'll come on your show too. Because me and him, I don't talk to him much, but when I do, whatever it is we need from each other, we help each other out. He really is a good dude. He does Bible verses every day. You have no idea how hardcore that dude is, and he's doing that. And that makes me happy.
I know. I see him every morning. Every morning.
I can't. When I was a kid, I used Jesus Bible thumpers, not cool. And now that's changed, But I mean, in this world, good is bad, bad is good. So, maybe it makes sense now. So, but there's a bunch of people like him that are going to ride, and this shit's got to change, man. It's and I know I was part of it. Like I said, I regret my father-in-law was a diplomat from Cuba, was a communist. At 18, I don't know what a communist is. All I know is he got lots of cool things, and he drives in a limo. I want to be him. He gets all the women. And then, then that's why young kids can't make decisions. But, later on, I realized what they did. The communists killed his whole family. He got arrested in America and died in our prisons. They killed his whole family for him working with the CIA. So anybody that thinks communism is a good thing, Karl Marx or Che Rivera or Castro, fuck you all. You know how the Cubans hate Castro? Oh my God.
They all hate him.
And people think, some people think Castro was great. Yeah, I don't see anything good about him, They all talk about, healthcare is great. Healthcare is great because they barely eat. Dude, they're starving out there. You're on a
because they're starving to death.
And I told you last time. Well, listen, my uncle in Cuba, rest in peace, got arrested in jail for 2 years for half Christmas pig. He had a pig that was going to feed his family. You can't in Cuba. Did you know? Grow vegetables. This shit's coming here. That's what they're doing here. They control people by food. Communism has starved more people than anything else in the history of the world, and a majority of them that are their people. So ready for it if the communists come. And we're so far up China's ass. You know, it's a sad state of affairs. And I don't even want to get political, but
I know this whole world is
get ready
like
for the
scrambled right now. Hopefully,
get
people
yourself a
get
little
their
Doug.
shit together. You know. But I appreciate you taking the time, man.
She's very, very smart. She says all you can do is pray. I try to make these plans. All you can do is pray, and she's right. You know, and it is a manly thing to pray. I never thought that, but it is. And when people pray in numbers, there's more power to it. Now, I'm not saying that Jesus is the only guy and all that. I know he's one of them, and I know that you pray to some being. I'm not knocking Muslims or Buddhists or anything. They're all the same guy. We're just still trying to put my label on something that isn't mine. People are very divisive, and they've used religion for good and bad. And if we didn't have religion, we'd be a lot less civilized. But with religion, we've also been controlled to be like idiots. So, you know, I don't know. I do a lot of praying. I'm starting to do some fasting, which is in the Bible and the Torah and the Quran. And it sucks because I love to eat.
Me too, man.
To eat. I could eat all day, every day. But, you know, what are you going to do? I every time, listen, I go to the fridge and I get prosciutto and I get salami. And I feel, when I'm doing it, I feel like Torano. I'm in there going, and my wife's yelling at me, why you got to eat all that lunch meat? Every time I come home, I go right for the fridge and get the lunch meat out, some cheeses. Mainly on this big prosciutto salami kit. You know. Oh, it's delicious. It's delicious.
I know, it's great.
Anyway, what's good with you? Let's tell some of the stuff that's coming up for you.
I got a lot of shows
Everything
coming up,
good?
man. I got a bunch of shows with Larry Mazza. I interviewed a whole bunch of people. Larry Hankin from Escape from Alcatraz.
Okay.
Have you've seen him before, right? He was on Friends and Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's Jack O'Halloran from Superman.
Wow, you're doing good, man. I'm gonna try to send some good people your way.
Definitely, I appreciate it.
Yeah, your thing is redemption, crime, and movies. That's pretty much, you cover a lot of that rap movie and stuff like that. So
all that, man.
That's pretty good.
Definitely.
Anyway, I think you wore me out. My low battery. You got any other?
I'm like the guy in the basement. Get ready. Oh man. But did your phone die? His phone died. I knew it would. But if you guys like this content, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And thank you for joining me, Chuck. Till next time. Peace.